But I was bracing. I was like, brace and go for it. And then, and my force curves were always like now, they were triangles.
Charlie, you started to row on a concept too,
Yeah.
but you did a lot of sports before. So you were a bodybuilder,
Dancer,
a dancer, so
swimmer.
swimmer. So you have quite a broad athletic background. And when you started to row, you started on a concept too, and essentially what you did was deadlifting, not rowing.
Like I was told, rowing is a deadlift.
Yeah, and rowing as a deadlift is exactly what we try to contradict today. Simply explain there's a huge difference between deadlifting and rowing. And if you try to deadlift in a rowing boat, you've got an issue. And we try to help you to avoid that. So this video is about the main differences. And once you understand this, rowing will be much easier for you. And my goal is that you understand that rowing is something that is effortless and you have more watts, more speed with less effort. Sounds like a cheap promise, but this is exactly what Charlie's experience was. Is that right?
Yep. And I will show you later. This is exactly the difference between how I started out and what I just achieved in the last couple of weeks to get a more dynamic thing. This is what always inspired me when I was looking at the elite rowers that were rowing like in the Olympic Zeitler in the Olympics or something. If you look at them, any of them, they don't look like they are doing what they are doing. They don't look like 700 watts. When you see them rowing,
Yeah.
it looks way more fluid, more soft, not like cramping effort.
Yeah, this is why people have no idea about rowing. They think it's easy until they actually sit in a boat or in an erg and try to pull a 2K.
It's not easy, not at all. But this is the difference for me. When I'm doing now the correct technique, it's still completely exhausting for me. But I simply do it with 60, 70 watts more. And I can do it way longer than by, like I did it before, with bracing and then rowing.
So that you guys know what's happening. So Charlie joined the Saturday class for the last 2 years. And the journey was really cool to see. So for me as a coach, it's always cool to see the same people every Saturday morning. And the journey was massive. Just over the last 2 weeks, when I published this video, the most important technique I've ever been able to give, this is exactly what I conveyed 2 weeks on a Saturday. And this is when it clicked for Charlie. So Charlie's here now, and we thought we structured a video that, because you have lots of experience with lifting from your bodybuilding background. So Charlie's going to show me how to do a proper deadlift. I'm a rowing coach. I'm not a lifting coach. So Charlie's going to instruct me how to do the perfect proper deadlifting with all the bells and whistles, and then I will try to hop on a bi-rower and see if this works for me. Probably it's not going to work, and then I will show you the 3 main differences, and then Charlie's going to hop on a bi-rower and show you what his journey was. And with all of this, I hope this is a great help for you. Okay, let's get started. Charlie, okay. So tell me, what do I do? Deadlift, okay.
So you approach the bar. The bar is over the middle of your foot, a little bit closer, below the bar. Yeah,
okay.
Like here. Then you bend down.
What do I do with my pelvis?
Backwards.
Okay.
You try to have a neutral spine. Like the normal curvature of the spine.
Yeah.
So now you go down and you move backwards with your backwards a little bit more. Nope. Conventional deadlift or Romanian deadlift?
A conventional deadlift.
Conventional deadlift. Then you squat even more, but you squat with you take the behind here.
I sit there. I like sitting back.
Sitting back, and if you have a bar, it should be very close to your legs.
Okay, like that.
Yep.
And now I sit back.
Yes. So now you grab the bar.
Okay.
So and now there is the thing with the slack. You get rid of the slack in the bar. Yes, tuck. And with that you brace, and then you lift up. Yep, that's it. That's the deadlift.
So bracing means to inhale before I start to lift. What about my shoulder position?
The shoulder is protracted a bit. You go forward like this, but then you squeeze, you lock it in.
With the twist. Is this thing where I try to break the bar?
This is where you hold the bar and you try to make the whole torso rigid.
Okay, let me try this again.
Yep. So not yet. You go down, you sit down, you hold it, then you brace, get rid of the slack, and then whop.
Is that the perfect position? Can you?
Yes, this would be quite a good position. Even a little bit further back with the bar. Yep.
Like that?
No, back. Yep. Very compact. And now upwards. Whoop. Yep.
Okay, my feeling is that towards the end I do that.
Yes.
Okay.
In the end, you're pushing. This is the lockout. Unless you have done this, the deadlift does not count. If you lift it up to here, it's not a.
Oh, that doesn't even count. I have to do this.
This. This. Glutes, hamstrings, back.
Well, if I do this here, that's going to be interesting.
You won't be able to.
No, I won't be able to. I won't be able to.
So maybe we could insert a picture of the starting position of the deadlift and the starting position of the thing. Maybe we could insert it.
I think that makes more sense. Yeah, Charlie, you're right. Okay. But so the proper position for the rowing catch is like this.
Yes. Basically, your hands are in front of your feet.
Right here.
Yeah. If I could show it. If I'm here and my starting point for a deadlift is here.
Yeah, that would be about here.
Yeah. It's
so deadlift is a half slide.
In between quarter and half slide.
About here.
Yeah, and you don't finish.
And the other thing is your upper body is about here.
Yes. The upper body, when you do a deadlift, the upper body is already in the end position of the rowing stroke.
Brace. And then you inhale, hold.
Yeah. And yeah.
And push the hip.
Yeah. Push the hip forward.
How stupid for rowing. This is not rowing. What makes the rowing stroke is that.
Yeah.
This. So
maybe for rowing we could go into another deadlift, the Romanian or the stiff-legged deadlift.
Let's do this first. Okay. So
fun things. Position is different because you start from upstairs, from up. You hold the bar up here and then you hinge.
So
get it up no matter how. So now you're standing there. So once again, you're.
Let me be in that position so everybody sees that.
Okay. So shoulders are back and fixed. You tense the lats. You hold the pressure here. Everything is rigid down here, and then you hinge. You don't push the bar. You hinge. Yeah, the bar goes down by the movement of the pelvis backwards. Yes. Up. Woof. So if you're flexible, you can go down even further. You are very flexible, so you can do it.
That's not rowing.
No.
See, if I did a deadlift that is rowing specific, I would do it this way.
Yep.
I would play with this.
Yeah. Yeah. This is something weightlifters also do when they do the Olympic lifts, but they do it not down here, they do it up here.
Yeah.
Here they have this hip where they give this effect, this
snatch,
the lifting of the shoulders in order to get the bar to give some dynamic movement. The bar travels up and we can sneak down beneath it. I'm very, very bad at Olympic lift, so I can't show it properly. But basically, the idea with an Olympic lift is that you are very quick here so that you can get down here.
Yes.
And then you, whoops.
But it's still not the same position as we have in rowing.
No. In rowing, it's happening down here.
Yes.
And it's happening with this here.
The problem is that you can't deadlift. You cannot do it in a boat. You cannot do it on the bi rower, which is exactly like a boat. So you can't do it in an original rowing motion environment, but you can't even do this on a linear erg because you're missing half the stroke. And now comes something very important. Oh, these are the notes Charlie and I sat down before this session. So we said there is no bracing in rowing, therefore the breathing pattern is different. For rowing, we inhale at the catch. For weightlifting, you inhale and hold before the catch, before the impact. So this is what it means. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Sit back, grab the bar.
Yeah. Yep. And even stiffer here, up here.
Stiffen the shoulders.
Yes. Yep. That's it.
That's. I'm deprived of the motion. See, in rowing, I'm rowing feet out.
Yeah.
But in rowing, it is, you inhale at the catch. So in a race pace situation, you inhale at the catch, because there's not the same impact. We're looking for something completely different.
In deadlift, you try to move a heavy weight to a certain position.
Yeah.
In rowing, you try to accelerate.
Well, that's a good point, because actually in rowing, we're not trying to accelerate the handle.
No.
This is often coached wrong. A lot of athletes try to follow the idea that into the finish, you have to accelerate the oar handle.
Yeah.
But what we actually want is to accelerate the flywheel or the boat. So hold, bah, until here. This is a major difference. So the entire idea of what we want to achieve is a vastly different one. Okay, the second point is a major one. We said the rowing stroke is about getting the entire body like a rubber band under a pre-stretch. And essentially throughout the entire drive, you want to keep that rubber band, that virtual rubber band, slightly extended, and towards the finish we release it.
This is the final, like a whip.
It's the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the deadlift, there is no whip. You try to be as rigid as you can and brace yourself, because the load in your spine otherwise is too much.
And if you see the power lifters deadlifting, the last real heavy stuff, you see them always, it's a ridiculous weight, but they do it like this, and then you have this shake, F, and then it's locked out. And this is very slowly here with all the effort they can pull and do the stuff. In rowing, the last part
It's the easy part.
is the easy part.
Because we've done most of the work before. We try to use dynamics.
And the other thing, which I just saw, when you are, could you sit down and, if you try to accelerate the hands. No?
You mean when I...
No, when you, so from here and now when you try to accelerate the hands, you're pushing inward.
Yeah.
So
the
you're giving,
resistance diminishes.
and you give an impulse inward, not
Yes.
backwards. Not, this is the part.
Towards the finish, the resistance diminishes.
Yes.
So it doesn't make much sense. This is why we are much less behind the oar lock and much more in front of the oar lock.
And you cannot get the blades out of the water if you have
No, you
complete.
can't. Yes. So what we're trying to do in rowing is to create, essentially what it feels like for me is when I'm at the catch, before I even start, I reach out and forward and get my lats under a pre-stretch.
It's not only the lats, it's all around the shoulder girdle that moves the shoulder blades around.
The low traps, it's everything.
It's here. The shoulder blades, now your shoulder blades are here. My hands are here on the back.
You can see this from the top camera.
Here.
Yeah.
And usually sit straight, relax. The shoulder blades now are here.
Yes.
And when you go into the catch, I follow the movement of your shoulder blades. They are out here.
Yes.
And then you have the tension. The tension is in the traps here, in the rhomboids down here, and also in the lat. The lat goes down here, outside.
Yeah.
But the shoulder girdle is held by trapezius and rhomboids, and also teres and all the muscles.
So if I start the drive now, my goal is not to hold this rigid, but to actually increase the pre-stretch here. So when as my hands go together, I increase it, and this is where I must not bend my arms too early. This is where I increase it once more, and then I let it whip into the finish and do that.
And when you bend the arms too early, you rob yourself of the whip effect.
Exactly. That's
Because the thing that makes the sound in the whip is the tip, the utmost tip of the whip. It's not the body, the handle.
I've showed it this a couple of times. Let me repeat this. I think it's very interesting. You might have missed this. The sound is about the same if I do this or if I do this. There is really not much difference. Then of course there's one major point, that is that rowing essentially is a diagonal force transfer all the time. This is why the original rowing motion doesn't hurt your back. This is it. So row, push with the left foot, pull with the right hand. And now push with the right leg or right foot, pull with the left hand. This is why the rowing motion doesn't hurt you. It's never that linear load on your spine, and now we do both simultaneously. This is sculling.
And this is also, to show it from the camera, it's such a movement and not such a movement.
Yes.
And this distributes the load way better across the whole body than this.
I've never heard a coach say for longevity, you should do 60 minutes of deadlifting every other day.
Yeah.
I have not heard a coach say this. Maybe there is one, but I haven't heard one yet.
All professional, real people who earn their money, except of powerlifters, don't have any deadlifts in their programs. Because it's so dangerous. Really deadlifts. What the rowers do, the rowers make multiple deadlifts with 60 kilos. A deadlift for beginners starts with their own body weight. And usually it's 2 times, 3 times the body weight.
There are rowers who do deadlift 150 kilos, 120 kilos, but this is not necessarily for longevity. I don't see massive rowers do this.
Only for the longevity of the orthopedic surgeon. Not for the...
Okay.
I'm a medical doctor, so I have to make jokes like that.
Charlie's a doctor. He can say this. So now comes the whole point of your journey. This is what triggered this video. Can you hop on a bi rower? So Charlie started out on a Concept 2, and you moved to a bi rower 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
About 3 years ago.
Yes. So can you row like you started out rowing? I remember when we had our first session, you were still in a Concept 2, and you had essentially, you deadlifted the Concept 2 for an hour.
No, 2 things. Either when I was trying to go hard, I deadlifted.
Yes.
And this was the problem, that I could only go for like 200 meters or something. Then I was completely gassed out because I was like bracing and then doing it, which leaves no oxygen to come into any muscle.
Yeah, plus you got this lung issue anyway.
I had a lung issue. Yeah, this is the reason why I started to row again, because I had a lung issue and I wanted to do something for my lungs to achieve it. So the other thing that I was doing was like rowing for an hour, but with completely no, just like gliding. No,
yeah.
Not continuously moving forward, backward, having no difference in stroke and recovery. This was the original rowing that I did. Like this. But linear. And this for an hour, something like, what is it, 100 watts, and then for an hour.
Nice force curves.
Then I started to apply a bit more force, but I applied the force at the completely wrong time. I applied it at the catch.
That's a classic.
Like,
yeah, but you didn't have a round back. You braced.
yeah, look like that. I can't have a round back. Immediately my discs would yell out, it would squeak. But I was bracing, I was like, brace and go for it, and then, and my force curves were always, like now, they were triangles. Move up, and then fall down.
So you could either kill it for 200 meters or take it super easy, but there is no sustainable, decent pace you could hold.
And the other thing is I never managed to get constant watts. Because with these things, it was always jumping in between 100, 120, from one stroke to the next stroke. And I was never able to get a continuous
yeah, you told
wattage.
me that, I remember.
Yeah. When I was in my training program, I had to do like 100 watts for 10 minutes. I never was able to do 100 watts for 10 minutes. I was able to do in between 100 and 120 watts.
20 watts is quite a bit of, okay. So then your journey went on, and there are these kinds of athletes. I got to say this, Charlie. I usually don't flatter my athletes, but Charlie's got this unique ability to process ideas and apply them successfully. There are not many people who can do this. I've got another Masters athlete in the US. He can do this extremely, extremely well. Tommy, if you see this, this is you. And this ability, I think, helped you. And plus your experience with dancing and bodybuilding and diving and swimming. So all these kind of different triggers you had before. And then you made two significant steps. The first significant step was here at the catch. When you went to the catch, you probably should come to this side here so you can see this. The first step was that just before the catch, you need a pre-stretch in your lat, and the lat attaches here. So the idea is before you even start the drive, you intentionally make this part move forward. It looks like your shoulders go up, when in reality, what you do is the traps, the rhomboid, the lats come under a pre-stretch. A pre-stretch means pre-tension. You don't tighten it, you bring it forward. And this is the kind of rubber band effect I was talking about. Then when you grab the handles at the catch, during the drive, can you do a slow motion drive? The idea was to hold this like a rubber band under stretch without disintegrating. And then came the last step. And this is, for me, what changed your technique completely. Yep. Can you go into the drive, do the drive, and now stop? At that stage, instead of bending your arms, you actually extended that part one more time, or pretended to do so, and you essentially whipped with the low part of the trunk, the upper section of the trunk back. So this had a bit of a delay in the motion, while that part kept on going, and you actually had a snap. It's like the top end of a whip. Can you show this for a second?
Yeah, it's... You go...
Tap. Exactly.
Oh.
And of course, this is exaggerated.
Like this is... Now I'm completely exaggerating, but this is like what I'm always talking about, the loading up, a final loading up of the rubber band or of a spring. You give it another pull, here you pre-stretch it, and then here you give it another pull.
Yes.
You know, it's a bit more, and this kinetic energy is stored and released with the backward. So I don't do anything actively, I just release the tension, and this gives me like, I don't know, 20, 30 watts more.
Yes, and of course at the finish, the idea is to inflate the upper abdominal muscles, because this essentially is the top end of your transverse abdominis, so the top end of your stability anchor, your deep muscle stability anchor, and therefore you end the stroke with your torso, not with your arms. It's like opposing that, oh, look how wide they can be. And if you connect this idea with a pre-stretch, a rubber band throughout the drive, and the last snap into the finish, this gets you the watts. And it's anything but a deadlift.
No, I would always say the deadlift is way more of a static movement. The torso is static, and then you try to get all the mobility out of it and simply apply the force. And rowing is to get the dynamics inside of it. It's like the same thing what I always say with the golf pros. When you see a golf pro hitting, this is what I meant before, when you see the elite rowers, and I don't go for Olli Zeitler, I go for somebody else.
He's Olympic champion.
Yeah, but if you see these rowers, they row and they don't have, it doesn't look like they are pulling 700 watts, what they're doing. It looks like, come on, and first, when I was doing it, I was always having this. Like this. This was. Oh yes, I can. I have 390. I have 400 watts like this. But this is not sustainable. This is for me. I can go for like 400 watts like this, but for maybe like 20, 30 strokes. And with the other thing, with this. This is sustainable. 497.
So quintessentially, no, rowing is not a deadlift. You can skip the video. Rowing is not a deadlift. But if you want to see more, this video explains it. It's also the journey and I think the many pitfalls novice, late starter rowers fall for when you try to have a good posture and you try to deadlift the erg or the bar rower or the boat. You've got an issue, and I hope this video helped you. Now, ladies and gents, if you're interested in trying the bar rower, it is simply said by far the world's best rowing machine. That is my claim and my estimate, and I stand with my name behind this. You can try Charlie's bar rower in Munich, in the city of Munich, or you can come to Vienna and experience what it feels like. It's tremendous. It's a relief for your back. It's the choice for longevity. If you're not a rower and you want to be fit until you drop dead old, this is the device to get. And if you want to join the Saturday classes like Charlie does and many others, go to aramtraining.com. Charlie, a last note from you?
No, still catching my breath.